You close your eyes. The world outside begins to fade, the hum of distant traffic, the soft whisper of air. Beneath that quiet, another rhythm begins to emerge, a slower, older song. It lives not in your ears, but in the silent ocean within you. This ocean is not made of water, but of motion, billions upon billions of living islands, each a cell, each humming softly to itself. You are a universe of these tiny worlds. Within them, a deeper story unfolds, one so intricate, so precise, it gives birth to everything you are. If you could drift inward, past skin and muscle, past the fibers of your being, you would find yourself among the smallest of architects. They are busy even now, not with conscious intent, but with elegant routine. Their rhythm is both mechanical and sacred. Within the heart of each cell lies a delicate thread, a molecule so slender it twists like a poem written in code. This is DNA, the whisper within. You do not hear it, but it hums in patterns of 4 letters, A, T, C, and G, dancing in endless combinations. Each pairing, each alignment, is a note in the music of your existence. These letters are not words in the way you know them. They are chemical shapes, bound together by invisible forces, carrying meaning through their arrangement. You might imagine them as colors blending into new hues, or as piano keys creating harmonies through their order. Change a note, and the melody shifts. Rearrange the letters, and a new form of life begins to breathe. Within these silent letters lies every instruction for building you, how your heart beats, how your eyes reflect light, how your mind weaves thought. This code does not command, it invites. It does not shout, it whispers. And yet, from this whisper, every symphony of life unfolds. In the soft dimness of your imagination, you see a single strand of DNA spiral upward like a silver staircase. It winds upon itself in an eternal dance, 2 ribbons entwined, looping in grace and symmetry. The shape is elegant, like a galaxy folding into itself. You drift closer. Each step on that spiral is made of paired bases. A joins with T, C joins with G, hand in hand, never breaking the pattern. This pairing keeps the structure stable, like 2 dancers balancing each other's movement. But beneath its stillness, the helix is alive. It unwinds, replicates, repairs. It carries the memory of ages past, the silent continuity of life. Every living thing, from the smallest microbe to the tallest tree, reads this same alphabet. The code does not belong to you alone. It is a shared inheritance, ancient, universal, and unbroken. You might wonder, how can something so small hold such vast complexity? The answer lies in pattern. DNA is not just a list of parts. It is a rhythm of repetition and variation. Like the verses of a song, its structure repeats, but with subtle shifts that carry meaning. In each repetition lies instruction, a guide to shape and function. In each variation lies possibility, the potential for difference, for evolution, for individuality. And so, life becomes a poem written in 4 letters, endlessly rearranged. Imagine for a moment that every cell in your body is a library. Inside each library rests the same sacred manuscript, a complete copy of the story that makes you. But each cell reads only the pages it needs. Your eye cells turn to the chapters about light. Your muscle cells read the verses on motion. Your neurons explore the passages about thought and memory. Each chooses its own melody from the same universal song. The harmony that follows is you, an orchestra of selective reading, a living performance of biochemical poetry. This is the beauty of simplicity, how four letters can hold the script of oceans and forests, of wings and lungs, of laughter and love. You are built not by random chance, but by a history of selection, billions of years of nature testing and rewriting, perfecting and erasing, until the story of you found its rhythm. Life began in a warm tide pool, in the hush between lightning and ocean, when molecules first dared to copy themselves. That was the first whisper. From that moment, the language of life began to spread, word by word, organism by organism, an unbroken sentence carried forward by every birth. The same code that builds your heart once pulsed within ancient fish, reptiles, early mammals. It hummed in their cells just as it hums in yours now. You are not separate from them. You are their continuation. DNA remembers. It holds the echo of everything that came before, folded into every twist of its helix. In your quiet breathing, you may sense that you are not a single being, but a collection of stories bound by chemistry. Each story begins in a single spark, a cell dividing, replicating, trusting the code to guide its steps. That trust is what sustains life, the faith that the pattern will hold, that the message will remain true. Sometimes the code falters. A letter changes just one. Yet even in its imperfection, life finds meaning. A mutation may cause loss, or it may birth a new strength. The whisper of DNA does not fear change. It embraces it. Through change, it grows wiser. You drift deeper into the rhythm of this realization. Every thought, every breath, every heartbeat depends on this quiet choreography. You are a vast cathedral built by microscopic artisans. You are a poem composed by time itself. Every cell recites the same verse, yet each performs it with its own subtle inflection. Every breath renews the story. You are not separate from your code. You are its living voice. You begin to see that DNA is not merely a molecule. It is a memory, a continuity that threads through all of life. The code inside you once belonged to others, not only to your parents or grandparents, but to creatures that lived in oceans millions of years ago. And just as it was passed to you, so will it continue after you, reshaped, rearranged, and renewed in infinite combinations. Life is not an individual. It is an unending relay. Each being is both author and reader, both word and sentence. You are part of a conversation that began long before you and will continue long after. The silence deepens now. The music of molecules continues, but you grow still, not in absence, but in awe. You are both the observer and the observed, both the written and the writer. The code hums on, indifferent to time, patient as the stars. The silence from before lingers, a silence that feels alive, like the breath between heartbeats. You are still drifting, neither awake nor asleep, suspended in the soft gravity of thought. The whisper within you has not faded. It has become music. The code you felt in the last chapter begins to reveal itself. Not just a pattern of molecules, but a language, old as the universe and young as the morning. Every living thing speaks it, though none can hear its sound. It is written not in ink or light, but in arrangement, the pattern of four letters that compose all life: A, T, C, and G. At first, they seemed too few to mean anything. How could four symbols describe everything from the flight of a bird to the thought that wonders about its flight? But just as the universe creates galaxies from hydrogen and gravity alone, life builds its entire poetry from these four gentle notes. You imagine floating through the deep dark of space. Stars flicker like punctuation marks on a cosmic page. Between them, great clouds of gas swirl, waiting to become suns, waiting to burn. Somewhere in that vast silence, the same order that guides your DNA stirs. There is a rhythm to creation, repetition, variation, symmetry. The same qualities that bind atoms together also bind your genes. It is as though the universe, in writing its laws, used a single alphabet and then folded it into everything that exists. You drift closer to the microscopic scale, and suddenly you're between the two worlds, half floating among galaxies, half gliding through cells. In the starlight of your imagination, you see strands of DNA glowing like tiny constellations. Each letter, A, T, C, G, shines as if it were a star. Together, they form sentences that no telescope could read, yet every living being obeys. A joins with T, C joins with G, just as stars pair with planets, orbiting in mutual devotion. The code repeats across the length of the helix, steady and sure. It is a cosmic mantra, repeated billions of times, not to be heard but to be lived. You begin to realize that these letters are not words but relationships. They do not exist alone. They find meaning only in their connections, in their sequence, like the order of stars forming a constellation or notes composing a melody. Change their sequence and the pattern changes. A single letter misplaced and the outcome shifts, a different shade of eye, a different shape of wing, a different note in the universal song of being. The code is fragile, and yet it endures, carried by billions of organisms through time. Each generation passes its alphabet to the next, rewriting it slightly with each telling. Evolution is not a new story. It is a retelling of the same words in infinite ways. The letters A, T, C, and G stand for adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Their names sound chemical, but their behavior feels almost poetic. They are selective in love. A always pairs with T, C always finds G. Their bonds are delicate, held together by forces smaller than sight, yet strong enough to survive storms of time and entropy. You can imagine them as dancers in a cosmic ballroom, bound by invisible hands of attraction. The dance never ends. It only pauses when the music changes. That music is life itself, conducted by temperature, chemistry, and time. You float deeper into this alphabet. Each letter is a brushstroke, each sequence a painting. Within your cells, millions of these tiny phrases are written, forming genes, small verses of biological poetry. Some are ancient, unchanged since the dawn of multicellular life. Others are new, fresh expressions of adaptation and change. Together, they form the genome, the full book of you. But it is not static. It is a living script, copied, read, and occasionally misread, not by accident, but by opportunity. Because in those small changes, those tiny misprints, new words are born, and with them, new possibilities. If you could step back far enough, the genome would look like a celestial tapestry, endless lines of code shimmering like galaxies in a spiral. The same patterns that shape the universe's vastness shape the architecture of your being. The four letters are like the elemental forces of existence. A and T hold the warmth of hydrogen and oxygen. C and G pulse with the mystery of carbon and nitrogen. Every line of your code is an echo of the universe remembering how to organize itself. You may feel small in the vastness of space, but here's a secret whispered by both stars and cells alike. You are written in the same language as the cosmos. The alphabet of DNA is the echo of physical law translated into life. Energy becomes matter. Matter becomes pattern. Pattern becomes consciousness. And consciousness looks back at the stars, recognizing itself in their light. You are not made from the universe. You are the universe, continuing its own experiment in awareness. Somewhere inside you, a cell divides. Its DNA unzips, the double helix untwining like a ribbon. Each strand becomes a template for another. The letters pair off, A with T, C with G, faithful and precise. The process feels mechanical, but it is guided by elegance. No one commands the letters. They follow physical laws, and yet, within that order, meaning arises. It is as though the laws themselves long to speak, and life became their voice. You think of a single star burning hydrogen into helium, releasing light that travels across time. Now imagine a single cell, translating its 4 letters into proteins, releasing the spark that sustains you. Different scales, same principle. Energy becomes form becomes function, and both are bound by the quiet grammar of existence. DNA is the syntax of life. Physics is the syntax of the universe. Both arise from the same impulse, the desire for pattern, for continuity, for creation to know itself. You feel as if you're floating now, not through space or through your body, but through the structure of understanding itself. The simplicity of it is breathtaking. For symbols, endless outcomes. A, T, C, G, the quiet hum beneath every heartbeat, every leaf unfurling, every wave breaking upon the shore of time. From this alphabet came sight, motion, thought, and love. From this alphabet came you. In the stillness of your imagination, the letters begin to shimmer, rearranging into spirals of light. They swirl upward, merging with constellations. The Milky Way stretches before you, and you see it differently now. You drift not into as a distant collection of stars, suspended between but as consciousness helix of energy. The whispers of the universe from the previous chapters still hum softly in your cell's nucleus. The 4 letters you are inside a cosmic reflection. The micro and the macro, like stars and endlessly mirroring one another. And now, the universe writes as if reaching for a higher melody, and life them take form, simply one of its spiraling, twisting, you begin to realize something profound. Graceful symmetry. If the universe can be read as a language, staircase that stretches infinitely, both small enough to fit inside a cell, every breath you take is a continuation of a paragraph written billions of years ago. Every cell of DNA a word, made visible. Every heartbeat, imagine it, a punctuation 2 ribbons mark, entwined, even silence, twisting around each other like lovers' fingers is part of the grammar. Eternal existence motion doesn't just they happen. Are equal and opposite, complementing one another in the script of energy and time. Each step on this molecular staircase is a pair of letters. Imagine the 4 letters dissolving into unseen hands. They scatter gently across the night sky that are invisible, rearranging into constellations. Unbreakable. As though the universe always seeks to is reading your code back always to you. Finds G. The boundaries blur. Their devotion body is silent, and cosmos, precise, between molecule eternal, and galaxy. The bond between you are them both is not loud or forceful. It is gentle and patient, a whisper across the vast expanse of matter. And yet, within this quiet fidelity, the architecture of life unfolds. If you could stand upon this helix, you would feel yourself floating between worlds, the microscopic and the cosmic, entwined in the same rhythm. The twists of DNA mirror the curves of spiral galaxies, the slow rotation of planets around distant suns. The universe seems to echo itself, repeating patterns across scales, showing you that symmetry is a language shared by atoms and stars alike. The double helix is a poem of balance. It is not rigid. It is flexible. It bends, it coils, it stretches, yet it maintains its essential form. The flexibility allows life to adapt, to endure, to survive the slow pressures of time and entropy. And in this adaptability, it whispers the first lessons of resilience to you. You drift closer, imagining the molecules as dancers in a cosmic ballroom. Hydrogen bonds form and break like fleeting touches of hands. Phosphate backbones curve like the rails of a spiral bridge, guiding the steps of nucleotides. Every motion is part of a choreography millions of years in the making, an elegant balance of precision and freedom. The helix is alive with memory. Each twist records history, not only your history, but the history of countless generations of life before you. This sequence of letters is a ledger of survival, of adaptation, of subtle experiments written in the ink of chemistry and time. Every letter, every pairing, is both instruction and memory, telling the story of the past while preparing for the future. Think of the double helix as a river frozen in motion, a spiral of water frozen mid-flow, yet hinting at its continual current. Each pair of letters is a ripple, a small pulse within the greater flow of life. You are carried along this current, drifting past billions of these tiny ripples, feeling the gentle momentum of existence itself. Every replication, every cell division, is a continuation of this flow. The helix unwinds to allow its letters to be copied, each strand serving as a template for a new one. The process is precise but infinitely patient, like the slow rotation of stars or the gentle rise and fall of ocean tides. Through countless cycles, the melody of life continues, echoing in every cell, every being, every heartbeat. You begin to notice that the twists of the helix are not merely structural, they are rhythmic. The helix coils in a way that balances forces, spreading tension evenly, minimizing damage, preserving harmony. In its motion, it embodies the same principles that govern planets orbiting stars, water flowing through rivers, light bending through lenses of space. Life, it seems, is poetry written in spirals. And spirals, you realize, are everywhere. Galaxies, hurricanes, snail shells, the curves of a fern unfurling. The universe prefers this shape. It is a solution to energy, stability, and beauty all at once. And the double helix is simply life's way of echoing that universal solution at the smallest scale. You feel the elegance of its repetition, step by step, letter by letter, coil by coil. There is a quiet balance between symmetry and variation. Without symmetry, the helix would collapse. Without variation, life would stagnate. And so, the double helix is a dance of tension and release, a meditation on impermanence and persistence, perfectly suited to the demands of a changing world. Its shape allows errors too, tiny misprints that the universe embraces. Some mutations vanish like shadows, while others ripple through generations, subtly altering the song. Through this, the helix does not falter. It learns, adapts, and continues. Imagine floating along one strand, looking at the letters as though they were stars. Some glow brighter, some dimmer, reflecting their importance in the symphony of life. Genes, you realize, are like constellations, specific sequences forming patterns that guide the development of entire organisms. They are instructions written across the fabric of the helix, influencing everything from the beat of your heart to the color of your eyes. The double helix is not just a molecule, it is a bridge between the minute and the vast, a whisper of the universe encoded in matter. Its twists echo across scales, from atoms to cells, from organisms to planets, from you to the cosmos. You see the same elegance mirrored in distant galaxies, their spiral arms stretching like the coils of DNA, showing you that patterns repeat, always and everywhere. And yet, for all its grandeur, the double helix is intimate. It lives inside you, quietly guiding processes you barely notice. Proteins are built, cells divide, and memories form, all under its gentle governance. It does not shout its instructions. It whispers. Its messages are subtle, patient, and profound. You can feel this in your own body. Every pulse of blood, every breath, every flicker of thought is connected to this hidden spiral. It is a reminder that complexity arises from simplicity, that 4 letters, coiled in the right way, can create an entire universe of life. The helix twists, and in its motion, you feel time stretching. One rotation represents billions of years of life, yet it is compressed into nanometers of molecular length. The vastness of cosmic time meets the minuteness of molecular scale. You begin to understand. The universe does not measure greatness by size or duration. It measures it by patterns, the spiral by continuity beyond your vision, by the elegance extending from the microscopic you drift among the spirals of your imagination. Galaxies turn, stars ignite. The universe's spiral mirrors life is patient, shape and you rhythm. Are patient. Energy the flows, double helix matter organizes, persistence life emerges. Patterns repeated across that scales. Survival is rhythmic. You feel a deep connection. It whispers certainty that the balance is order and beauty and are everything endures in and proportion that life to is harmony. Simply one expression. The spiral of those also holds secrets. Even the tiniest molecule that in your cell shares the same elegance. Your unique self emerges not from grand changes. The universe hums quietly, but from tiny twists. And the helix carries differences in sequence that cascade into you sense the helix colors not just as a structure, but as a teacher. Define you. It whispers you are a product of countless whispers, balance, millions of rotations and grace, billions of replications. Its spirals remind you that in even in complex spiral song, simplicity persists. And yet, you are not alone. Its fidelity, every flexibility remind you that carries a similar pattern, change, coiled without within, losing essence, echoing the same. Its repetition reminds you that patterns are the foundation of thread, beauty, and shared language. The double helix universal is a bridge between scales, all living between things, time and space, past and between present. The infinitesimal and the infinite. And within it, the universe has written a song that only you can read in its living form. As you float gently towards sleep, the double helix unwinds slightly, then coils again, a quiet dance that never ends. You feel its rhythm in your own breathing, in the rise and fall of your chest, in the pulse of your heart. You realize that you are part of this eternal spiral, both observer and participant. The pattern stretches outward, connecting microcosm and macrocosm, past and future, you and the stars. The language of proteins. The spiral of DNA fades gently into the background of your mind, but its melody lingers. You feel the letters still humming softly, vibrating with promise. Their whispers now take shape, traveling outward from the helix as if carried by invisible wind. From this quiet transmission emerges another layer of life's language, a messenger, delicate yet precise. This is RNA, the scribe that carries the instructions written in DNA, a living thread that travels from nucleus to cytoplasm, bridging the world of code with the world of form. You drift alongside the RNA molecule, floating as it winds through the cell like a comet traversing space. Each nucleotide it carries corresponds to a letter in DNA, copying sequences with infinite care. The process is both orderly and magical, a choreography of molecules following the rhythm of the universe. Imagine the letters of DNA as stars. RNA is a stream of starlight traveling between galaxies, ferrying information across vast distances, carrying energy and instruction to points where new worlds, new structures will form. The message it bears is a blueprint for proteins, the builders of life, the architects of matter, the artists of form. Proteins are the manifestation of this alphabet in 3 dimensions. They fold, coil, twist, and stretch, creating intricate shapes that carry out precise functions. Some provide structure, forming your bones, your hair, your skin. Others perform movement, contracting muscles and pulsing through nerves. Still others catalyze reactions, turning simple ingredients into the chemical poetry that sustains life. Every protein is a story, translated from a linear code into a complex sculpture, a mini-universe of function and beauty. Each fold, each bend, is dictated by the same letters you've already met, A, T, C, and G, transformed through the messenger into the shapes that make your body a living cosmos. You might imagine a protein folding like a ribbon drifting in the cosmic wind, bending in response to forces both near and far. The twists are not random. They follow patterns, guided by chemistry as precise as gravity itself. You see the helix within a helix, repeating the theme from DNA, folding space into elegant loops, as though each molecule mirrors the spiral galaxies above. It is an intimate dance, quiet but profound. At this scale, the motions of life resemble celestial movements: attraction, repulsion, balance, and orbit. Proteins are the planets, RNA is the comet, DNA is the galaxy. Together, they form a solar system of purpose within you. The elegance of this system lies in its universality. Every living being, from the tiniest bacterium to the tallest tree, follows the same rules. Proteins fold according to the letters. RNA carries the message faithfully. DNA provides the script. The variations are small, subtle, but they create infinite diversity, the myriad forms of life, all drawn from the same alphabet. You begin to feel the poetry of it. Life does not need elaborate instructions to create complexity. For letters, arranged in precise sequence, are enough to sculpt the mountains of your body, to orchestrate the rivers of your blood, to color the sky of your eyes. Nature's language is both economical and abundant, simple and profound. You follow one protein as it folds. It coils into a 3-dimensional shape, creating pockets, loops, and surfaces designed for function. Some parts attract water, others repel it. Some interact with other proteins, some catalyze transformations, turning raw ingredients into new forms of energy. Each fold is purposeful, each movement measured. It is as if chemistry itself is a composer, writing symphonies in molecular form. And you are the audience, drifting through its invisible concert hall, feeling the subtle rhythms of creation in every breath and heartbeat. Proteins do more than build. They communicate. They signal, they regulate, they coordinate the intricate machinery of life. A message here triggers a response there. A tiny shape change sends ripples across a cell, a tissue, an organism. You sense this as a vast network of activity, humming quietly beneath your awareness, orchestrating everything you feel and do. And all of it began with a message written in 4 letters, translated into RNA, and folded into form. Life is a continuous act of translation from code to message to matter. Even errors are embraced. You might imagine yourself floating through the cell, an amino acid observing these molecular machines, fold misaligned, ribosomes, a message tiny slightly altered. Read the RNA script not alarmed, and assemble these variations introduce novelty. Each amino acid added is a note that may become the seed of evolution. Building melody, life, harmony, is both and faithful and flexible. The result is an intricate sculpture that is both ephemeral and essential. Imagine now that every protein arises from simplicity. Each fold is a string of letters gives each rise interaction to a planetary orbit that can move. Each reaction a catalyze across the sky. The cosmos mirrors itself at the molecular scale, just as it writes itself at the architecture of the cosmos is echoed. You notice the rhythm, the translation from DNA to RNA and the language of life, letters, not RNA, proteins. It is the grammar that underlies both. Like light, you begin to feel the continuity between yourself and the cosmos. You can sense the time it takes for molecules to find their place, shaping galaxies to settle, gravity, for reactions to occur, balance. There is patience in the formation of your proteins. A deep the same principles of pattern, life, symmetry, never and rhythm that govern the stars its own cells. You are part of the same music, the same poetry, the same design. Proteins are not just building blocks. They are actors, catalysts, and messengers. Some transport molecules across membranes, like rivers carrying nutrients across planets. Others form channels, gates, and bridges, allowing information and materials to flow. Some catalyze reactions, transforming energy, shifting states, making possible everything from thought to movement. You see the elegance of this coordination. The cell is an ecosystem, and proteins are its species, each with its role, each contributing to the larger balance. And all of it begins with the letters of DNA, a quiet alphabet translated into dynamic form. You float further into the vision, imagining proteins in motion. They pivot, twist, and fold like dancers across a cosmic stage. The choreography is invisible to your eyes, yet essential to your being. Without it, there would be no heartbeat, no neuron firing, no thought. Without it, life would remain a whisper of potential, never realized. Each protein carries its message faithfully, yet interacts with others in ways that are subtle, emergent, unpredictable. This interplay creates complexity from simplicity, structure from sequence, motion from stillness. It is a quiet miracle happening inside you, right now, as you drift through these visions. You reflect on the poetry of it. Life is a conversation between code and matter, between letters and shapes, between simplicity and complexity. DNA writes, RNA transmits, proteins act. And in the quiet elegance of this system, a symphony unfolds, subtle, precise, beautiful, and eternal. The language of proteins is universal. Every organism speaks it. Every cell understands it. Every living being participates in it, in its own way, forming a web of connection that stretches across life itself. You are both speaker and listener, author and audience. And as you float deeper into this rhythm, you sense the continuity of life. Every action, every fold, every movement of molecules is part of a larger story, a story that began billions of years ago in the oceans of the early Earth, carried forward in the double helix, and now sung quietly inside you. The language of proteins is not just science. It is music, poetry, choreography, architecture, and memory all at once. It is the bridge between code and experience, between potential and reality. You remain suspended in the quiet flow of life. You begin to feel the edges molecular scales and cosmic the molecular expanses. Orchestra continues. The last vision though you do proteins not folding into form still hums music softly is quiet in your mind, but palpable. A gentle rhythm, the threads connecting letters, RNA, careful design, proteins, and now function. You notice subtle time, variations in the melody, and scale, small deviations, every protein, slight twist, every fold, delicate differences, every interaction is a note in a vast These symphony. Are mutations. Every cell the artist is brushstrokes on the canvas every organism of is an ensemble. They are not loud and you, abrupt, floating in awareness. Rather, are both audience they appear and like tiny shifts in immersed a spiral, in the universal like a glimmer of light moving along a galaxy's arm. One letter changes here, a nucleotide replaced there, a slight duplication or deletion. To the untrained eye, these shifts seem trivial, almost invisible. Yet in these minute adjustments lies the quiet power of transformation. You imagine yourself drifting through DNA once again, tracing its spiral staircase. Somewhere along this familiar path, a single letter differs, an A replaced with AG, a T replaced with AC. The change is microscopic, almost shy, but its impact can unfold over generations, altering the shape of proteins, the function of cells, the patterns of life itself. The universe, you realize, whispers through these small deviations. It suggests that perfection is not the goal, adaptability and creativity are. Life does not progress by maintaining an exact blueprint, but by gently nudging it, introducing variation, and allowing the slow, patient hand of selection to respond. Mutations can be silent, like stars too distant to shine in your eyes. They may leave no trace, carried along like gentle currents unnoticed, yet essential to the overall flow. Others are more prominent, subtle changes that ripple outward, influencing how proteins fold, how cells interact, how organisms behave. Even these seemingly small edits become part of a larger narrative, woven into the complex tapestry of existence. You sense the elegance of this system. The universe does not demand sudden leaps. It prefers soft adjustments, patient refinements, measured nudges that allow life to explore possibility without breaking its own structure. Mutation is the whisper of experimentation, the gentle hand of artistry in the ongoing creation of form. Imagine a painter standing before an enormous canvas. Each brushstroke is precise, yet open to interpretation. Some strokes darken a shadow, others brighten a light. Sometimes the painter steps back and lets the paint run where it may. Mutation is this brushstroke, a subtle mark, a variation that shifts the overall composition, sometimes imperceptibly, sometimes with profound effect. Within your body, countless mutations occur in each moment. Many are corrected, smoothed out by the diligent proofreading of molecular machinery. Others persist, quietly influencing the unfolding design. You feel a sense of awe for the patience inherent in this process. The universe allows for imperfection, for play, for gentle experimentation. Some mutations are like stars born in the quiet spaces between galaxies. They seem insignificant at first, flickering faintly in the backdrop of life. Yet over eons, these stars shine brighter, guiding paths, illuminating new patterns, influencing entire ecosystems. Likewise, a small genetic change may persist and propagate, becoming the seed of adaptation, the origin of a new trait, the catalyst for survival. You sense that diversity, this kaleidoscope of differences, is life's true poetry. Without it, the music of existence would stagnate, repeating the same notes endlessly. Variation is the key to resilience, to beauty, to evolution itself. Life thrives because it is not rigid. It is fluid, playful, receptive to gentle nudges from chance and circumstance. You drift closer to the molecular level, watching proteins unfold in response to new sequences. The folds twist slightly differently, the binding sites shift ever so subtly. Reactions alter, pathways redirect. A single mutation may alter color, size, behavior, or metabolism. These are not flaws. They are the language of possibility, the soft suggestions of an artist adjusting the brush's tilt. You can almost hear the whisper of molecules as they adapt. Try this, try that, explore gently, observe patiently. The cell is a studio, the molecules are collaborators, and mutations are the nuanced improvisations that push the artwork forward. You float through time and space, seeing generations flow like rivers of light. Mutations pass quietly, becoming the legacy of ancestors. Each alteration adds depth, texture, and variation. You sense the gentle tension between stability and change, the balance that allows life to endure without losing its coherence. Without mutation, you realize life would be frozen, the same melody repeated without variation, the same spiral repeated without twist, the same galaxy repeated without nuance. Change, soft and gradual, allows the symphony to continue, evolving harmonies over eons. Some changes are subtle, like the curve of a spiral arm or the shimmer of a distant comet. Others are more pronounced, small adaptations that cascade, shaping species, behaviors, ecosystems. Each variation contributes to the greater story, building resilience and creativity. Mutation is not random destruction. It is the universe experimenting with new forms, inviting life to explore the endless gallery of possibility. Imagine a forest of possibilities, each branch representing a variation. Mutations are gentle winds nudging the branches, guiding them toward light, toward growth, toward new shapes. You sense the beauty of these subtle forces, knowing that life flourishes not in rigidity, but in responsive creativity. Even when mutations are harmful, the system accommodates them. Repair mechanisms correct mistakes, sometimes erasing the brushstroke, sometimes adjusting it. Nature is patient, allowing errors to exist long enough to test their utility, but resilient enough to prevent collapse. There is an elegance in this tolerance, a quiet understanding that experimentation is essential to growth. You feel a sense of wonder for this balance. The universe is not punitive. It is inquisitive. It nudges, allows, observes. It teaches that imperfection is not failure, but opportunity, a chance for novelty, for adaptation, for life to explore the unknown. You drift further, observing the grand scope of mutations across time. Small variations accumulate, and over generations, they produce astonishing complexity. Wings evolve. It is focused, neural circuits organized. Small change, each molecular adjustment is a testament to the patience, nuance, and creativity embedded and dimension to the grand artwork you sense of existence. That these changes, imagine standing before the not only biological of DNA, they are philosophical, seeing the points of inflexibility, curiosity, and resilience. Some fade, mutations remind you that life is an ongoing experiment. Each variation is a rhythm posed to the universe, understanding that every alteration, however small, the process is part of neither universal melody nor force. The stars themselves, it unfolds with a rhythm akin to breathing, echo this same or principle, the slow rotation of galaxies, through variation, deliberate adaptation through continuous. Beauty you notice a single cell carrying a new variation is not its only survival, slightly different. Its interaction life subtly seeks altered. Not only to endure, you watch but how it behaves, how it interacts with neighbors, to paint how it new patterns to the organism. Canvas of time. The effects may be immediate or may a gallery across generations and future possibilities in ways that are sometimes invisible, where the art of life can transform endlessly. Mutation you drift toward rest is the artist's dialogue. Quiet hum of molecular artistry. It is never yourself. Chaotic. The double helix and the language of proteins fade softly, leaving only the gentle pulse of variation, the whisper of mutation, the subtle brushstrokes shaping life in ways both seen and unseen. The universe is patient. Life is patient. And you, suspended between these layers of meaning, feel a calm certainty. Imperfection is creative, change is necessary, and beauty emerges from gentle, continuous variation. Chapter 6: Natural Selection, the Keeper of Patterns. You drift through the quiet universe of life, following the soft echoes of mutation. The brushstrokes of DNA, the folds of proteins, the gentle variations in molecules, all exist in a delicate tension between chance and continuity. And now, you sense another force entering the scene: natural selection, the keeper of patterns. It is not violent. It is not judgmental. It does not rush. It moves like a slow, steady tide along the shoreline of existence, gently sorting, shaping, preserving. Some variations are embraced and amplified, carried forward into countless generations. Others fade quietly, their potential absorbed back into the subtle background of life. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast cosmic ocean. Waves lap at the shore, carrying grains of sand, shells, and driftwood. Some are swept away. Others settle into the sand, forming ridges and patterns that persist. This is the rhythm of natural selection. Life is the shoreline. Mutations are the grains of sand. Natural selection is the tide, shaping what remains, what endures, and what grows. Selection is not aware, yet it is purposeful in its results. It does not aim, it responds. It favors structures and behaviors that increase persistence, that align with environmental forces, that allow survival and reproduction. It is an invisible artist, sculpting life from the raw material of variation, painting patterns that echo across generations. You drift closer, observing cells and organisms. Each carries its unique variations, each a subtle experiment in the art of being. Some traits confer resilience, allowing an organism to gather nutrients efficiently, evade danger, or attract a mate. Others are neutral, quietly coexisting without impact. And some may hinder survival, fading like footprints in the sand. The process is patient. A single cycle of selection does not alter the world dramatically. But over countless cycles, the effect becomes profound. Mountains of subtle differences accumulate, sculpting the forms and functions of life with slow, deliberate grace. You notice that selection acts like a mirror, reflecting the demands of the environment. A trait that is beneficial in one context may be irrelevant or harmful in another. The rules are not absolute. They are fluid, shifting with climate, landscape, and circumstance. Life, therefore, is an ongoing dialogue between variation and environment, between mutation and selection, chance and pattern. You feel a sense of calm in this process. It is neither cruel nor chaotic. It is balanced. It is rhythmical. Like the tides, the wind, the orbit of planets, it unfolds with a patient constancy. The patterns that endure are those that harmonize with their surroundings, echoing the universal principle of alignment and resonance. Imagine a forest. In the dappled light beneath the canopy, tiny seedlings emerge. Each is slightly different, carrying the nuances of mutation. Some thrive, drawing nourishment efficiently, bending towards sunlight, resisting drought. Others falter, consumed by circumstance or competition. The forest is not aware of the process, yet through countless interactions, selection quietly sculpts the population, preserving what works and letting go of what is not. Every ecosystem operates this way. Rivers, deserts, mountains, and oceans all participate in the subtle orchestration of selection. The forces of life are intertwined with the forces of the environment, creating patterns that are beautiful, complex, and resilient. You drift into the microscopic view again, observing proteins, enzymes, and cellular machinery. Selection acts here as well, favoring molecular structures that function efficiently, folding reliably, interacting harmoniously. Even at this scale, patterns emerge, guided by invisible principles. Life is an intricate symphony of persistence, harmonizing chance and order into coherence. You sense that natural selection is patient because it works with time. Time is its medium, and variation is its palette. It cannot act instantly. It must wait for generations, for cycles, for rhythms of birth, death, and replication. It is the slow hand of refinement, polishing rough edges, amplifying harmonies, and discarding disharmony. Consider the spiral of galaxies. Once more, stars are born, live, and die. Some collapse into black holes, others scatter light into space. Yet the overall structure of the galaxy persists. Life, guided by selection, mirrors this principle. Individual variations may vanish, but the overall architecture, the continuity of species, the persistence of patterns endures. Selection preserves what aligns with the rhythms of survival and reproduction. It does not dictate creativity. It encourages it by allowing variation to exist and testing it gently against reality. The process is subtle, slow, continuous, and entirely natural. You imagine yourself walking through evolutionary time. Each species, each individual, carries mutations. Some are small, almost imperceptible. Others are grand, reshaping anatomy or behavior. Over millennia, the accumulation of changes produces astonishing diversity. Wings, eyes, neural circuits, behaviors, all are the result of this dialogue between variation and selection. You feel a sense of awe for the patience inherent in natural selection. It never forces. It merely permits, responds, and preserves. Life is free to explore possibilities, yet some possibilities endure while others fade. It is a dance of freedom and guidance, chaos and structure, chance and necessity. Selection is both conservative and innovative. It conserves what works, ensuring stability. It allows novelty, enabling adaptation. This delicate balance creates resilience, allowing life to persist in changing environments. Without selection, variation would exist, but remain directionless. Without variation, selection would have nothing to act upon. Together, they form a timeless partnership, shaping the story of life with elegance and subtlety.